This man, plagued by a heart condition, received a transplant, yet he could not escape the cruel hand of fate. On his deathbed, his only wish was to know the identity of his heart donor. That's when a woman in a red dress entered, his current wife. She revealed that the donor was a woman who had secretly loved him for 30 years. He then received a final letter from that woman. Reading its contents, he was consumed by regret. The wife he had cherished his entire life only had eyes for his inheritance, while the woman he had taken for granted was willing to sacrifice her own life to save his. Struck by this realization, he coughed up blood. His last wish was to cherish her in his next life, and then he died. But then, time seemed to rewind. He was back in a high school classroom, accustomed to the homeroom teacher's reprimands. Picking up his earphones, he listened to a song from 10 years ago. A sudden realization hit him. He looked up sharply at the calendar on the wall. The date was 2015. He stood up with a yell. He had been reborn, 10 years into the past. Seeing this, his teacher strode over to discipline him, but the man unexpectedly pulled her into a tight embrace. In his past life, she had been the one by his side at the very end. The teacher, utterly bewildered, pushed him away and told him to wipe his drool. Just then, someone tapped his shoulder from behind and handed him a tissue. He looked closely. It was the woman who had secretly loved him and given him her heart in his previous life. Without a second thought, he kissed her. She, however, felt offended, kicked him hard, and fled. For breaking class rules, his teacher made him copy texts as punishment, but this time he accepted it willingly. The teacher sensed something different but left it at that. Suddenly, his ex-wife from his past life appeared, furious that he had kissed another girl after confessing to her just yesterday. But the reborn man was done being her doormat. He knew she had multiple boyfriends back then, using them for attention while hiding their relationship to secure her sugar daddy. The man told her he'd only consider being with her if she bought him a $500 pair of sneakers. The selfish woman, furious, could only cover her hypocrisy with anger. She had no idea this man would soon be a billionaire. The man pushed her aside, mentioning he'd confessed to his deskmate that afternoon, infuriating her further. In his past life, he was a programming prodigy. He knew his future business partner's company was currently stuck on a technical problem, a problem that wouldn't be solved for another 8 years. He decided to solve it for them immediately, using his foreknowledge to make a fortune. Soon, his ex-partner received the solution via email and prepared a generous reward. Back in the classroom, ready to confess to his deskmate, he found his ex-wife had gathered a crowd to mock him. Friends advised him to retreat, but he pressed on, heading straight for his deskmate with flowers. She accepted, partly to save him from embarrassment and to spite the onlookers. That evening, he was giving her a ride back to her dorm on his scooter when a car sped towards them. She pushed him out of the way. Thankfully, the car stopped. It was his ex-wife and her sugar daddy. Fearing for her safety, he confronted them. The sugar daddy mocked him for riding a scooter, and the crowd joined in. Just then, several Rolls-Royces arrived. A powerful woman stepped out, his secretary from his past life, now a high-ranking assistant at a top internet company. The students recognized her, hoping to work for her company. One man boasted about passing their interview, assuming she was there for him. But she didn't know him. Instead, she approached the reborn man, thanking him for his invaluable solution and presenting him with a $1 million contract and a $1 million Rolls-Royce Phantom. His net worth had instantly skyrocketed. The sugar daddy, in disbelief, was quickly fired from his prospective job when the assistant intervened. His girlfriend, once proud of him, now begged the reborn man for another chance, promising to buy him sneakers, go public, and even more. But he dismissed her, pointing to his deskmate as his true girlfriend. He also instructed his secretary to reclaim all the money he'd ever given his ex-wife, backed by the city's best lawyers. She faced financial ruin and a lawsuit. After the chaos, his ex-partner invited him to dinner, impressed by his skills. His new girlfriend supported him wholeheartedly, giving him their first kiss. At the hotel, he shared his vision for an electric car battery with his ex-partner, revealing he'd already developed a prototype. Impressed, the partner agreed to invest. But the man got drunk and was escorted to a hotel room by 2 women. His girlfriend soon arrived. After they left, he couldn't contain his feelings and kissed her passionately. The next morning, he woke up to find her beside him. Overjoyed, he embraced and kissed her again. At checkout, they ran into her father, who was struggling to secure investment for his business. Seeing them emerge from a hotel together, he assumed the worst and decided to take his daughter abroad. But then, the reborn man used his foreknowledge once more, dramatically changing her father's attitude towards him.